Epic theme music goes here. Bum, 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 bum. Well, hello everybody. How's it going? Welcome to AdventureBound. This is a new community show, and by community, I want to emphasize community because I'm going to need your help because I'm trying to do something that I've never done before. I'm going to try and make a self-published illustrated book. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I will have some help from friends along the way, of course. Today we will be working mainly on illustration because that is the core of the show. But I do want to say hi to chat. That was an incredible theme. Thank you, CJ. Appreciate it. Let's see. Let's see. Jack in here. Jack, thank you for being a mod. Oliver, what's up? Katarina, how's it going? Umacorn, Marcia. It's good to see everybody. Everybody get comfortable because it's going to be a bit of a wild one. I am going to explain a little bit about the book, but first we have to get to the straw poll because I did say, or it does say in the description that we'd be working in Fresco. I kind of jumped the gun and did some traditional illustration here. So I'm just gonna go into this. So we have a straw poll. If Jack, you can drop that. Here's what we're gonna work. Well, one of these, you guys are gonna choose what we work on today. We've got, I don't even know what these are yet. They don't have names. So that's stuff we can do for that. We can figure out what these are called, what they are. And that's part of what this book, and I'll get into it in a minute, but that's part of what this book is gonna be about. Connecting lore and creating things that kind of live in the same world, and we can explore some of this too while we're working. So these are the options for the straw poll that should be up right now. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat. I will be looking at chat throughout. Excuse me. But let's talk a little bit about the inspiration for this entire thing. So some of you know me from streaming on here or on Twitch. Some of you may have even met me at conventions. I don't know. But there's tons of work that gets created that no one ever sees. And I never know what to do with it. So that's what the idea for this book is. And let me show you an example why we're talking about this. I have a lot of these images you may have seen, you may not have seen. Some of these I know that, let's see, so we've got the Mousapillar. I know that that's been on Behance. I did this a few weeks ago. And some of these have never been seen. But there's a ton of this. There is a lot of this. I'm not saying I would use all of these for the book, but they're options. There are options. And this is only the more fantasy themed stuff. I actually have a bunch of sci-fi themed things as well. But I mean, this was just stuff I pulled out of it's essentially my library. And I was like, we need to make something with this. We need to start putting these things together. Some of these were also thematic studies. But yeah, there's like a whole, probably another couple of hundred of these laying around. And some of them will work, some of them won't work. But the idea is to take the ones that do work and put them all together in a field guide of, you know, if you've ever seen a bestiary or a field guide, they basically have either creatures or things, articles of, you know, they could be magical items or whatever the lore is you're working on, typically in D&D, and that's where this inspiration came from for me. I will show you some of these. So with books like these are the things that I grew up with. These are a couple of art books from way back. They're actually, where did I put them? They're actually right here, and here. I'll go to the full screen, and they are filled with, you know, let me just find something that's not super crazy. Let's see, so they're filled with, you know, all these paintings and images and all this stuff. and huge influence on my artwork and everything else I do as far as my art is concerned. But in particularly a thing called a monstrous compendium, which came in a binder. Let me go back to, there we go. It came in a binder, which blew my mind because I was like, oh, that means this is official. They're like, it's a 3-ring binder with stuff and things and creatures and art and all of those things. So that's sort of the idea of where we're going with this book. Each character, creature would have a little bit maybe about their lore or a biome or whatever. You know, I'm not exactly world building, but there would be some connective tissue in between everything. And the coolest part, when these would also come with releases of more previous, like more creatures would be released, and you could just stick them in your binder. And it was like, wow, this is wild. Not doing anything like that. This would hopefully be a bound book. Yeah, so we're going to take all of that, try to make something out of it. And let's take a look at the straw poll. So I'm going to click on the straw poll and see what we've got. Let's see. Oh no, that wasn't mine, but I do still have it. I actually, it's in storage, and I was like, should I go? Maybe I'll pull it out for next time. All right, let me go check the straw poll results. Oh my gosh, it's a three-way tie. All right, we need a tiebreaker because I can't get started unless there's, come on, which one do we want? Wow, nobody went for 4. Nobody likes this look. Look, you know what? Maybe that's who we go for 4. We just, artist choice, go for 4. So did you guys do a 3-way tie just so I'd be stuck? All right, we're gonna have to make a decision. Rock, paper, scissors it out? Yes. Be the tiebreaker? Yeah, okay, well, you know what? You know what? We could work on all 3 of them, right? Looks like creature 3 has won. Okay. All right, you got it. I'll check it one more time. Yeah, 3 is the clear winner. Okay. So 3, my idea for 3 was, and it may be a little squishy, but I wanted, these would basically be like a brood of worms that kind of like waste collectors, or waste, not collectors, but destroyers. They would, I mean, you could do it, again, we're talking about fantasy stuff here, so anything goes. But the idea was they would all live in the same habitat, essentially living on top of each other. And as they get older, they sink lower to the bottom and literally become bottom feeders for the ones that live at the top. So, you know, it'd be a way of like, I don't know. There's lots of stuff. Well, we can write all of that. Yeah, little ugly maggots. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to open a new file. Let's see. Let's do this. I had it vertical, but it can be horizontal. Yeah, it can be horizontal. Also, I opened on my Discord a channel for AdventureBound feedback. So anybody that wants to head over there and give us some feedback, tips or tricks for self-publishing, let me know. I don't know what the end goals for this is going to be. I do know that it's going to be probably looking to be finished by Q4, in the end of next year. So we've got a little bit of time. All right, I'm just gonna, and I don't think I'm gonna copy this. I'm just gonna start from scratch. I tend to do this quite often with sketch illustrations, or, you know, if I do something that's like traditional, I don't really bring in the line work. I just start riffing on basically just using it as reference. And that's what I'm going to do today. If you have any questions at all about any of this, about my process, about why try and make a book, please ask away. I think the initial reference for these creatures, I was looking at, I believe it was like, what are they, sea lions? I believe it was sea lions. And I was like, what if this was more of a worm thing? That was the initial take anyway. All right, I'm gonna try to just get this sketch out so that we can really start fleshing these out. That's kind of a gross way to put this. Dune worms. I could see it. For scale, these would probably be about human size. It was my thought. So also for some guests that are lined up, we're going to be learning some InDesign, which I know nothing about. I know a little bit about it. To be fair, I have kind of dabbled a couple of times, just out of necessity throughout the years. But generally, I don't know that. So we're going to have someone on in a couple of weeks to help me after we figure that out. There will be there are plans to have a historian friend of mine that is also a lore writer to help me out with some of the writing. I don't know about, like, probably just going to help me out, help me write it. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Do they eat their newborns? No, I didn't think so, but what I was thinking was they have these little pods, these little, they're almost little, I would say food sources that are attached to their back. You know what, I'm going to go into the volume brush because that's going to be a lot faster just to kind of get this out. I call this the volume brush. It's really not. It's just a soft edge, hard edge brush. If you saw the pro tips earlier, that was the one I was using when I was working with the sphere. And I also haven't made, if you also were watching that, no, I have not chosen a light source yet. So I don't have a cone. I have not made my cone yet. But yeah, talking about these are the little sacs on their back. I think that's where they would feed from. And as it gets higher, you know what, maybe I will make this. We'll work with this. I'm gonna just scale everything down. As I say, maybe I will make this, I was gonna say I would make it vertical so that you can see the height of it, but I think this will be fine. Because the younger ones are like live on the top, and they're kind of, I want to see them like peeking their heads out over the top. Can't type an animal name that lives on it. Yeah. Yes, they are essentially blind. At least that's the, all of this can change, which is the good thing about, just coming up with stuff. You want it to be interconnected if you can. In the book form, I would assume. But I'm just kind of getting out the rough shapes for this real quick. I could probably be a little quicker, but. All right. That'll do for now, I think. I really hate the bottom of this one's getting cut off though, because I liked seeing the neck sack. We can always make it smaller. And we won't have a finished illustration by the end of this, but we'll be somewhere. We'll be somewhere out in the illustration, in the realm between finished and not finished. I guarantee it. Someone is asking me, I was telling them about this project. Well, a friend of mine was like, well, how are you going to fund it and all this stuff? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. An artist friend of mine just did a Kickstarter on a very similar book. And I was like, it might be a route. I'm not a huge fan of doing that, but you know, open to the possibilities. Again, that's where any kind of advice or tips or tricks that you guys want to share come in handy. All right, so now I'm sort of starting to dip into the possible need for a light source. So I'm going to go ahead and decide on that. And I think it is going to be like a top-down, almost like a little front-facing and top-down. I'm going to do this on its own layer. I usually use another brush for this, but so now we have our cone of truth. I'm just going to go this light cone, and I'm going to delete it off of this layer. Wait, you got moderated. Well, they don't. It's okay, McCorn. It's okay. We know you didn't mean it. All right. So now that we have our light source established, I'm actually just going to come in here and get some of these, define a little bit more of this. A bit of structure here. DIY, I don't know. What I mean by self-publish is just not looking for any publisher to publish it. So I would be having to do, whether that means, you know, making a zine. I don't think that's the case, but it's possible. That's a good question, because self-publishing can mean a lot of things. Like, I'm not going to write a book and then shop it, is what I'm saying. I'll go ahead and add these. I'll erase these later probably, but I just want to make sure that there is a tube-like shape happening there. Let's see. Is this AdventureBound, where every page turns into a wild expedition? Yes, yes, essentially, that's the plan. Annika, I believe, is going to be our special guest for the next episode. I don't think it's locked in stone yet, but I think that's where we're headed. Spoilers. I spoiled episode 2. Sorry. Also, Annika, there is a Discord now available. Well, a Discord channel in my Discord that is a feedback channel for this show. All right, let's start throwing some light in here. I'm gonna go back to this soft. Just going to treat this like it were. I was going to, I don't know, I was going to jump right into color, but I don't want to do that because I think the lighting is going to be a trickier than I thought. Because I kind of want this entire thing to be like almost a gradient from top to bottom. And yes, I'm going to go ahead and paint that in because I think that's how I want this to roll. All right, get this manageable. I did provide the same brush set. I think Jack may have already posted it, that I had for the pro tips earlier. Oh, what's up, Sam? Coming back again. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. It's weird seeing Sam's name without a badge, but here we are. Yeah, so now it's just a matter of filling out the rest of this, working up all the detail, all the levels of, all the values, sorry. Not quite doing details yet. And I'm honestly, you know, this kind of thing doesn't, you know, like working on this part of this, there's no nerves. But I'm already looking forward to the guest streams where I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's gonna be something. I will be still doing illustrations during those streams as well, but probably more quick sketches and that sort of thing. I have been declawed, Sam says. So I also use this, you can probably see by the way I'm using this brush, I also use this as a volume. I call it a volume brush a lot of times because you can quickly make volumes with it. If I want to make this a sphere, that's exactly how I made the sphere from earlier in Pro Tips. I'm going to come in here with another dark layer. I'm just slowly going to work this. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. If you guys are okay with that, I should be able to cover a little bit more ground. Keep looking at the reference, but there's no more reference. We're off the beaten path at this point with the reference. And I think there will be times as well where I'll be asking for, much like the straw poll, but I'll be asking for, you know, maybe there will be sketches already planned, maybe there won't, and then we can, you know, get feedback from the community for what they want to get, you know, see drawn or see us create. Kind of like build a creature instead of a build a bear. There'll be build a creature episodes. I think I don't want to give too much away, but later on there will be a lore building one, and I think that's the one we can get a lot of community help. All right, now I can start kind of focusing in on some of the details, just hinting at details. Then we have to decide how much of these ridges are like, because I could do like a little muscle ridge in here, almost like it's it's striated or something in a different way? Or is it all just kind of, is it all kind of flabby? I don't know. Yes, you get to name them. Sure. It might even make it into the book. I also did these because I wanted them to be like, I don't have, I don't know. I think it's just the way my brain works. But I also don't have a lot of cute characters. So I was like, maybe I'll kind of start making some cute characters. And then these, some of them are. And then you guys wanted the one that was definitely not. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I think that's hilarious. These started off cute. I still kind of think they're cute. That's just my take on these. But I think I have a very different definition of cute than a lot of people do. It's kind of like the ugly dog competitions. I don't think they're ugly in most of the cases. Meep, beep, cheap, and gleep. Excellent. I mean, it's hard to compete with. Cheese ball. Here, let's give them a, let's see, I'll give an overlay for names. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't know what 3 and 4 really look like yet, but you can put your number down and then the name. That way we'll know. And I'll put number names. There we go. Make sure I'm back on the, been painting on the light cone, which is great. If you ever do anything like that, because there's gonna be tons of painting on the wrong layer, you can press Control-Shift-J or Control-Command-J, and it will put that selection on its own layer. Look at that magic. Look at that magic. And you thought there wouldn't be any tips. Come on. All right, so I'm being really light in the back, and that's mainly because I'm about to start putting on a little bit of highlight, because I think a lot of that backlit area, or not backlit, but the areas in the back are lit way more than the, basically the top is going to be brighter than the bottom. So I'm going to be pushing and pulling lighter values at the top and darker values at the bottom. Kind of an odd way to put that, but here we go. I may leave, actually I'm going to do that on its own layer for now. And I'm going to really, I'm going to define this background is what I'm going to do. Just basically going to make a, I probably should put this on its own layer too. Why don't we do that? Just in case. And I'm going to do the same thing, Control-Shift-J. I'm going to call this background. Or I could have just said BG. Wormy McWorm. Kevin. We have a Kevin. I don't know what number. What number is Kevin? Let's put our numbers back up. All right, let me fill out this background. And you know what I'm going to do? You guys don't have you don't have a clue what I'm going to do because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to select all of these shapes. Really, well, I was going to say really rough, but I didn't mean to go that rough. And if you've seen me work before, you've seen me do this before. I'm going to make a new layer under this. Fill with color of the same background. Click OK. And did I miss a layer? I did. I'm going to grab that sketch layer, drag it below, and I'm going to take all of that and merge it down. So now we have our own background, our own foreground, and we can just work on the background. I just saw Sam's names. Okay, that's nice. He doesn't like sludge as much as the siblings. Oh yeah. All right, so now I can just paint all this back in. Kind of see where this is going. Because I kind of want the background, I do want the background to be darker, as if there's some distance. The pile extends beyond. I honestly did not think I'd be working on this one. That's a good rule of thumb. Don't present options you don't want to work on, which I didn't. I did want to. I don't mind working on this, but I just didn't think this would be the one. You remember that episode 1 of that show you did where you did a bunch of worms? Yeah. That was cool. There we go. All right, so we're starting to shape up. I'm starting to see some form here. Can be defined a little bit better. Gonna come back in here. Grab this guy. I like this one in the front. I want to make sure he doesn't get lost, because I want him to kind of curve back. I think, you know, we can do as well. I think I will do this. I'm going to select our big shape, change this to overlay, and I'm going to brush with a lighter brush and start working in that lighting I was talking about. I'm going to leave the edges a little bit sparse as far as light. I want it to sort of be a vignette, like a sneaky vignette. I'm going to change my brush as well. You know what? Maybe I will merge these down because I like how that's looking. And that way I can bake it in. You'll also notice I'm not super fussed on, I want to keep things, I want to be pretty mobile at this point. I don't want to lock a bunch of details in. Slowly working it up. And I am keeping an eye on time. I think we may focus a little bit on some details on our center guy. And this happens sometimes, like it's selected off in this red, but all you have to do is Control-Shift-U, or is it Control-U? Image, yeah, Shift-Control-U. And you will desaturate your image. So yeah, like I was saying, we may focus a little bit in on this guy in the center, just to get a little detail in before the end. We still have plenty of time. I kind of want this fall off to go all the way down. I like that a lot better. I feel like that's more correct as well. Karen is Kevin's sibling. I need a rundown. I don't know. Can we get what names we have already based on the name numbering chart? I'm going to leave that up while I work, because I'm going to get lost. Boris is particular about hierarchy. Did it again, Control-Shift-U. But then you do have to remember to go back and grab the right value, otherwise you'll keep painting with the wrong value. We have some choices to be made as well, because we can leave them kind of matte. We can leave them matte if we would like. Or we can start to make decisions about, are they a little slimy? Are they wet, gross fellows? Are they dry, you know? I don't know. I don't know where I land on that. Chad. I'm telling you, I need a number. I've left the numbers up there. So, who is number one? Who is number one? Actually, I want to make sure that I remember that these little pods are going to be a lighter value. Do they have lips? Yeah, they do, sort of. This is a lip. And I think this nose would be shadow. Here for the slime. Jack, making my day. Making my day. I like his grumpy little face, though. I do like that. We'll flip this over. Give myself a different perspective. I have that set up to a hotkey if you're at all curious. It's just going into View, Flip Horizontal. Mine is Alt, Control, W. They're world-class whistlers, yes. Yeah, that's a good question too. Sam mentioned swamps. I actually envisioned them being employed by city, by a city sewer system. When I say employed, I mean like, hey, we've got you. We put you in the sewer. Now you clean for us. I mean, I didn't say it wasn't a cruel world for them as well. No, maybe they have a better lot in life. I don't know. But swamps, that's interesting. Maybe that's where they come from. I mean, obviously I wouldn't think their natural habitat would be sewer until, like, you know, they've had several generations of being raised in the sewer. I actually do like the whistling thing. That's really cool. See what I'm talking about? Community, right? They live for that sludge life. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they're getting something out of it, for sure. They're not begrudging. They're besludging. Yep. That's right. I said it. Immediately regret it. Okay. I do like where this is going. Actually starting to get a lot further than I thought we would on it. And so the plan with these is after the show, after this session, and sometime before the next one, I will work this one up a little bit more, and we'll add it to the library. We'll add it to, you know, options, and we may even use this as a placeholder as we get into the layout of the book, so that we have, you know, working with the things we've worked on. So there's also plenty of time to name these. If someone can message me a log of the names, I will not remember them. Hey, Alessandra, what's up? How's it going? Yes, this is new. This is a new community show where we are, I say we and I say community because we're going to be designing a illustrated book, seeing how far we can get with it. At the core, it's an illustration show, but various weeks we will have on guests that will help me figure out InDesign, figure out Adobe Express for promotion, and that sort of thing. But at the core, it is an illustration show. And that's what we're doing today. Oh, you have it for me, Jack. Thanks so much. Jack is the real MVP. Getting me all the names of all the creatures. I didn't forget. I just haven't added the pods to this. I need to go ahead and make sure I do that. I may do that with just by indicating a white, because I want these to be noticeable at a distance. It's going to be a little tricky because I also want them to not. I may have to evaluate this a little bit more, but. So I want the pods, and I want the shine, and each pod is probably going to shine, so it's going to be a tricky. We could just push the worms darker altogether, which I don't mind. Essentially giving me enough value range to do what I want to do without creeping up on white. Or a mid gray. And that way we have a little bit more room to add the different value shifts. I think I like that already anyway, so I think we're good. It will be every other week, Tuesday, and yes, if it is noon for you, it will be noon for you then. So I think the next show is I want to say the 26th, and it will be at the same time. And between then, I will have worked on this, worked this up a little bit. We'll probably revisit this. Oh, get out of here, G-Force. Nobody asked you. All right. Digging that. All right, I'm gonna zoom in here just a little bit, just because I said we would sort of tighten up on some details. You don't want to miss these? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Especially once we get rolling with guests, it's going to get wild. Yes, there's also a Discord channel for feedback or anything else you want to talk about regarding the show. If you're not already familiar with my Discord, we have a monthly thematic study, which has been going on for about 2.5 years. Anybody is welcome to join. It's very relaxed, work at your own pace. And if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to drop those in general channel, or you can DM me. It doesn't matter. However you can get in touch. Also have to think about, do I want this to be like, are we talking smooth skin? Are we talking not so smooth skin? A little bit of texture in the skin? I don't know yet. I'm actually going to add the corner of this mouth, and I think that's going to help really define the grumpiness. Because we can paint texture in this as well. It doesn't have to be just smooth. It can be lumpity, and I can even move back to our volume brush to help with that. Let me flip this though. The only reason I flipped there is because I've gotten used to working with this volume brush in a way that I'm used to the direction that I'm pushing the strokes. All right. Getting close to a wrap up here. Got a few minutes left. How long are these? They're only an hour long, so we won't have a lot of time to like fully develop an illustration. You may see some of these on my personal streams throughout the week, which I do also on Behance. I need to adjust my schedule though, because on days that I'm doing this show, I will not have a Tuesday night stream. Just FYI. But still plan on doing the Thursday streams. The show is an hour. The worms are forever embedded in your mind. Congratulations. I think they fall off, these little bumps fall off, these little sacks stop as they come down the body. Not literally fall off, like they don't fall on the ground, but yep, there are crazy worms out there for sure. Keeping it fictional. We're keeping it fictional. Maybe based on real life things. All right, so we are going to wind it down, but to let you know where we're going to go, we're going to I believe most of these episodes are going to start from now on going forward. These episodes are going to start with an update to where we are and what we're doing. And I believe, let me show you real quick. One of the other influences for this whole thing is Alan Lee's book. He has a book that was it was a Lord of the Rings sketchbook, and he did a visual layout. And I thought this was, when I first saw this years ago, I was like, this is the only way I can think about a book. This is the only, like, visual, I think visually all the time. When I saw this, I was like, that's brilliant. That's what's missing. I can see, like, he's thumbnailed everything, and you can't really see it here, but the idea is there. If you have the book and you flip through it, you can see he thumbnailed the images he already had to make sure that they would work and, you know, lay out perfectly. So I think this is what I'm going to be working towards. So as we update throughout the weeks, not that we're going to like build these page by page, but this is, whenever this does get put together, there will be a visual representation of this, much like this. So it's just a way for me to think about what would work well together, you know, page layout and design wise. Alan Lee, yes. I will type it in the chat. Alan Lee. Amazing artist as well. But we have this untitled image, which we should probably save. I'll save it later. But this is what we worked on today. We started from these sketches. You guys chose 3, and I think there's a list of names somewhere, which would be great so that we can revisit this. I don't know, these might come back up in other straw polls later on. We may see a new set of 4 or 3 or however many get done for that week. Oh, and much apologies to anybody that came here. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but came here looking for Fresco, working in Fresco. Well, I had planned to, but I didn't realize I'd be this far along with sketches. So I just jumped right into Photoshop. There will probably be other times we can use Fresco for sketching. But I believe that is going to do it. This is where we got today from starting from that straw poll selection. I want to thank you guys so much for coming out, and we're gonna keep going. You know, there is a great stream coming up next. I believe Val and Cody, our very own mods, but also artists, will be on next. So stick around for that. And we hope to see you guys real soon, and hopefully we'll have some updates for you for next time when we come back to AdventureBound. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you soon.